The Yay or Nay Show with Alex C. A sports show for sports fans by a sports fan. And now, here is Alex C.
All right, here we go. Yay or Nay Show. It is the sports show for sports fans by a sports fan. I am your host, Alex C. College football. This is definitely going to be the new hot topic. So many things going on with NIL, people hating on it, people liking it, people not understanding it. There's so much conversation to be had about the money. Is there really a lot of money in college football after all? There's a lot of stuff to dissect here. We are going to be breaking this down, I guarantee, for the coming months because there are so many different stories coming out about it. I got a lot of research I have to do in regards to it because, again, there's a lot of things being said. I got to do some fact checking, see if what some people are saying is actually true or not true. So, again, it's going to be a topic of conversation for the months to come. But let's start with college football because, again, it is going to be the hot new topic. The Coaches Association proposed transfer windows in the late fall and spring to help with roster management around the transfer portal. Todd Berry, executive director of the American Football Coaches Association, said Tuesday his group would like 2 transfer windows for players to enter their names into the portal, one from the final Sunday in November until early signing date in mid-December, and another from April 15th to May 1st. Both windows would coincide with contact periods in recruiting. Players wouldn't be required to transfer, only to enter the portal during designated time periods. The NCAA's transfer portal, which debuted in October of 2018, currently doesn't have specific windows for movement. The only deadline is that players must notify schools that they are entering the portal by May 1st of each academic year. Berry noted that the AFCA members proposed transfer windows before the portal went into effect, but they have not been adopted. So again, like I said, college football, there's going to be a lot of talk because there are so many things going on. A lot of it has to do with the NIL, transfer portal, coaches leaving, the speculation in regards to why the coaches are leaving. There's a lot to be said when it comes to college football, and believe me, it's a hot topic, and we're going to be talking about it for months to come because it's a hot topic with a lot of different branches that just basically branch off of each individual topic. It's like you're jumping down a rabbit hole for everything there is to speak about. Speaking of NIL, SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey and Pac-12 Commissioner George Kliavkoff met with United States senators in Washington, D.C. on Thursday to ask the legislative help surrounding name, image, and likeness policies. I have been invited to meetings with several senators tomorrow to discuss the issues we're seeing with name, image, and likeness, and with the existential threat of our student athletes being deemed to be employees, Kliavkoff told ESPN ahead of the meeting on Wednesday. NCAA President Mark Emmert and other leaders in college athletics have been asking for federal lawmakers to step in and regulate NIL policies. There are currently no federal regulations around NIL, and state laws vary considerably. Kliavkoff contacted Democratic Washington Senator Maria Cantwell, whom he knows from their time working together at Real Networks. He and Sankey were scheduled to meet with Cantwell and Republican Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn and had hoped to meet with other senators from both parties. For far too long, the NCAA has refused to allow student athletes to benefit from the use of their name, image, and likeness, Blackburn said in a statement issued after Thursday's meeting. The NCAA president, Mark Emmert's resignation is one of many necessary structural changes that will enable the NCAA to support our student athletes. I continue to push for the accountability and fairness measures our student athletes deserve. Kliavkoff on Wednesday said the goal of the meeting was to discuss issues facing college athletes with influential senators. I think it's more likely that we eventually get federal legislation on name, image, and likeness, but we're also interested in discussing all the harm that will come to student athletes if they are deemed to be employees, Kliavkoff said. Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowlesby, while supportive of the meeting, expressed doubt that anything will come of it in the short term. And the reason why that is because obviously we have midterms getting ready to come up. There aren't really anybody who's going to be looking to push for any legislation at this point in time because of the fact that you have midterms coming up, and they don't want something that could potentially go negative on them right here, right now, when they're in the middle of the campaign season. So that's pretty much why you're not going to see anything take place. But again, NIL, you got a lot of people saying it's creating harm. You got a lot of people saying that it's doing good. Depends on who you're talking to. And you got to look at the reasons why they're saying the things they're saying. Players, athletes are always going to be on the side of athletes, right? Coaches, commissioners, athletic directors, they're always going to have a different point of view as well. But again, somewhere in the middle is the truth. I'm going to do my best to investigate all the information to find out what the truth is, because again, there is a lot to be said about the NIL, whether it's doing good, whether it's not doing good, because again, there are a lot of brand new reports that players are taking this to the 10th degree, and they're changing the whole game in regards to what name, image, and likeness is and means. Boosters also are part of that issue, changing how the landscape is working. And there were a lot of original complaints, remember, where they said only the bigger schools with the biggest amount of money were going to be the ones to be able to still continue to get the best talent because they have the largest cash flow available to be able to give these guys the deals that they want. I'm not going to go into details again. I got a lot more investigating to do, but there are definitely a lot of discussions being had, a lot of discussions coming out, and a lot of stories coming out, as you could tell. And like I said, for the next few months, this is going to be a volatile, very, very volatile topic. Moving over to the NBA really quickly, let's talk Ben Simmons. Brooklyn Nets swingman Ben Simmons will require 3 to 4 months of rehabilitation after undergoing back surgery, but is expected to be fully recovered to return to the court well ahead of preseason training camp in September. Simmons, who's 25, had a microdiscectomy procedure today to address pain located in a herniated disc in his lower back. The Nets called the surgery a success in a statement today and said the procedure was performed by Dr. Robert Watkins in LA. Simmons will have an initial recovery period of approximately 3 weeks, and the decision to undergo the surgery was reached after consultation with multiple back specialists, the team said on Wednesday. My thing is this. Why weren't they doing this earlier? And why didn't Ben Simmons say he needed to get this done earlier? I know I'm sounding a little pessimistic about this whole thing, but look, if you're suffering that bad, then why didn't you get this done earlier? You were traded like in February. You haven't played ball since you got traded. You haven't practiced. You haven't played. You haven't done anything. You apparently were suffering all this pain. Why did we wait till the end of the season in order to get this done? Because again, it's not like Ben Simmons was really trying to get back on the court. It's not like Ben Simmons was really trying to join the team and get involved with this season. We all saw that. There's no way to dispute that. So if you had no intentions of getting back on the court, why not at least have the intention of getting healthy? That's the part where I'm the most confused when it comes to what's going on with Ben Simmons. I still say, irregardless of the fact that he got the surgery and he's expected to be ready to go before the preseason, I still say it's in the Brooklyn Nets' best interest to trade Ben Simmons. It is time to move on from Ben Simmons. And that's not the only player that I'm saying teams should move on from. And we're going to get into that discussion in a few minutes because I think the landscape of the NBA has changed. I absolutely believe wholeheartedly that the landscape of the NBA has changed. All right, going back to college football. Like I said, it's going to be a volatile, hot topic, and we're going to be talking about it for the next few months, undoubtedly, without a doubt. So with the collegiate landscape in the midst of sweeping changes and uncertainties, Ohio State Athletic Director Gene Smith on Tuesday proposed the 10 FBS conference operate under the umbrella of the college football playoff with their own rules and structure while the NCAA continues to host championship for basketball and Olympic sports. Smith, who said he was just throwing ideas out in a brief interview at the Big Ten spring meetings said the school that offers 85 scholarships need different rules. He said they could create minimum standards for membership, and we can create our own rules, create our own governance structure, have our own enforcement. We have our own requirements, whatever that might be, said Smith. And that might be in the medical space, for example. If a student athlete is injured and hurt in his or her senior year, you take care of them when they're done until they're healed. And we have the funding in place to do that. You don't touch anything else with the NCAA. You keep the academic requirements in place. The reality is those schools who offer 85 scholarships in football have made a different commitment, and that needs to be addressed. Smith said he's shared the idea with some of his peers and has received mixed reviews. His suggestion comes at a time when the NCAA and Big 12 are both searching for new leaders. The NCAA is restructuring its entire governance, and weighty issues like name, image, and likeness and the transfer portal have dominated discussions here. And again, these are going to be the two major hot topics that we're going to be covering for the upcoming months. This topic could easily be as hot and as talked about as any NFL story. I'm telling you, name, image, and likeness and the transfer portal are going to dominate the news media for months to come. Now, Smith said the FCS championship for college football should remain untouched, but the FBS could follow the same model. He pointed out that as the FBS commissioner continued to consider an expanded playoff beyond the 2025 season, they're only talking about those 10 leagues and Notre Dame. The CFP model needs to be looked at differently, Smith said. As we consider expansion, we ought to consider the structure, and the reality is we need to begin to control our own space. We've got to make sure we're careful with antitrust, but at the end of the day, we need different rules. Colorado Athletic Director Rick George said he's been saying for years that college football needs somebody to oversee the sport in the same way college basketball is run with Dan Gavitt, who is the senior vice president of basketball at the NCAA. College football needs the same thing. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of different ideas from a lot of different coaches, athletic directors, commissioners, because again, there is change coming in college football. And keep in mind, there is a mass exodus of coaches in both basketball and football. So there's a lot of conversations to be had. And again, I'm just showing you how branched out and how many rabbit holes you can jump down when you're talking about college sports and the NIL and the transfer portal. It's getting kind of crazy, folks. And we've got a lot to talk about. I have a ton of research to do in regards to it. Now, let's flip over to Major League Baseball really quickly. Let's talk about the power rankings. The New York Yankees are the new number one ranked team in baseball. They were previously ranked number 5. They are now number 1. The former number 1 was the LA Dodgers, who are now number 2 with a record of 16-7. The New York Mets are ranked number 3. Their record is 18-9. Their previous ranking was 4. The San Francisco Giants fell from 2 to 4. Their current record right now is 14-10. The Milwaukee Brewers are number 5. They were previously ranked number 10, and their record is 17-8. The Toronto Blue Jays at 16-10 are ranked number 6. Their previous ranking was number 3. The San Diego Padres, they're 16-9. Their previous ranking, their ranking is 7. Their previous ranking was number 9. The LA Angels, their record is 16-10. They were previously ranked at number 13. They're now at number 8. Coming in at number 9, you got the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Their record is 15-10. They were previously ranked number 6. The St. Louis Cardinals, they're 14-10 and ranked number 10, and their previous ranking was number 8. The Minnesota Twins, their previous ranking was 17. They're now 11, and their record is 15-10. The Houston Astros, they are ranked number 12. They are where they were last week. Their record is 14-11. The Atlanta Braves, their record's 12-15, ranked number 13, and their previous ranking was number 11, so they fell 2 spots. The Seattle Mariners, previously ranked number 7, they fell 7 to number 14, and their record is 12-13. The Miami Marlins, they're playing 500 ball at 12. Previously, they were ranked number 22. Currently, as of now, they are ranked number 15. The Philadelphia Phillies, their record is 11-14. They are previously ranked number 18, now number 16. The Chicago White Sox, they're 11-13. They were previously ranked number 16. They fall 1 to number 17. The Colorado Rockies, they're 14-10. They were previously ranked number 14. They are now ranked number 18. The Boston Red Sox, their record's 10-15, previously ranked number 15. They slipped 4 spots to number 19. The Cleveland Guardians, their record's 11-13. They were previously ranked number 19. They fell 1 to number 20. The Chicago Cubs, they were previously ranked number 23. They jumped 2 spots to 21. Their current record is 9-15. The Oakland A's, their record is 10-15. They were previously ranked number 20. They slipped 2 spots to number 22. The Arizona Diamondbacks, they're playing 500 ball at 13. They were previously ranked number 28. They jumped 5 spots to number 23. The Detroit Tigers, they were previously ranked number 21. They fall 3 spots to 24. Their record is 8-15. The Texas Rangers, their previous ranking was 26. They jumped 1 spot to 25. Their record is 10-14. The Kansas City Royals, they're 8-15. They were previously ranked number 24. They dropped 2 spots to number 26. The Pittsburgh Pirates, they're at 10-14. Previously ranked number 25. They slipped 2 spots to number 27. The Baltimore Orioles, they were previously ranked number 29. They jump a spot to 28, and their record is 9-16. The Washington Nationals, their record is 9-17. They were previously ranked number 27, and they slipped 2 spots down to number 29. And at the bottom of the barrel, same place they were last week, it's the Cincinnati Reds. Their record is 3-21. So they're obviously having a little bit of a tough season, needless to say. All right, now, Pac-12, their spring training is over. Let's talk a little bit about each of the teams in the Pac-12 and what we're looking at, or I should say what we have learned in regards to spring ball. Let's start with the North Division, the Cal Golden Bears. Ever since Jack Plummer announced he was transferring from Purdue to Cal in December, he has been the projected replacement for Chase Garber, who signed with the Las Vegas Raiders as an undrafted free agent. The spring largely solidified that idea as Plummer pleased Cal's coaching staff with his accuracy and command of the offense. He wasn't officially named the starter, but that appears to be a matter of time. The Oregon Ducks. Coach Dan Lanning's arrival spelled out an intention to excel on defense and to continue recruiting at a high level. But perhaps the more interesting thing is how the Ducks evolve under offensive coordinator Kenny Dillingham. It's foolish to put much stock into a spring game for reasons that are obvious to anyone who has followed college football for more than 10 minutes. But the Ducks offense, including new quarterback Bo Nix and likely backup Jay Butterfield, gave plenty of reasons to be excited about what's to come on that side. The Oregon State Beavers. Trent Bray's unusual rise from position coach to interim DC to permanent DC in just over a month during the 2021 season made this an important spring for him. It's tough to implement any wholesale changes midseason, so this was Bray's chance to set the course for how he wants to operate. The early returns are promising. Schematically, there might not be a major shift, but Bray contends he'll be more aggressive. The Stanford Cardinal. Quarterback Tanner McKee didn't walk into a good situation last year, so the lack of team success at 4-8 overshadows the fact that he showed signs he can be a very effective player. He was in complete control during the spring game, and if there's reason to expect an uptick next season from Stanford, it starts with McKee. The Washington Huskies. The Huskies might be the toughest team to project in the Pac-12. Last year's 4-8 record was an abject disaster, but because the season started with high expectations, it's easier to allow for a bounce-back season under new coach Kalen DeBoer. There weren't any major developments from the Huskies during the spring that changed much about what to expect in 2022. His ability to restore positive culture is job number one, and he has made strides there. The Washington State Cougars. If nothing else, the offense is going to be fun to watch. The arrival of quarterback Cam Ward from Incarnate Ward through the transfer portal could end up as one of the most important offseason moves across college football. And that's before factoring in that he will remain in Eric Morris's offense as the former UIW head coach left to become the Cougs offensive coordinator under new coach Jake Dickert. Now, the USC Trojans, as we start the South Division. It doesn't matter what shade of red they are wearing. Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley are on the same page. Riley has appeared pleased with the progress the USC offense has made this spring, while Williams already looks game ready in a familiar offense. The two have begun the process of folding everyone else, except maybe fellow Oklahoma transfer Mario Williams, into the system. So far, the results look promising, and given the rumors surrounding USC and Biletnikoff winner Jordan Addison, there might be more firepower on the way. UCLA Bruins. Justin Martin has got next. We might be looking way ahead here, but the highly rated freshman quarterback from Inglewood showed serious flashes in spring ball. His arm strength jumps off the page, and though he's firmly behind Dorian Thompson-Robinson and Ethan Garbers on the depth chart, it is tantalizing to think about what a UCLA offense led by him could look like in the near future. His fall camp performance could determine whether Garber sticks around for 2023 or not. The ASU Sun Devils. Sometimes it's not in Tempe, since last season 18 players have transferred from the program, a handful of them, including linebacker Eric Gentry, who already committed to USC, have left since spring camp ended. The elephant in the room is the impending NCAA investigation, but beyond the uncertainty that could bring, the program seems to be reeling without a clear direction, and whatever energy Herm Edwards brought with his team feels completely gone. The Colorado Buffaloes. The Buffs may have a pass rush brewing. Last season, Colorado was last in the conference, 126th in the nation in sacks and 10th in tackles for loss. This spring, there has been positive momentum on that front, with head coach Carl Dorrell praising the defense for the improvements they have made in getting to the quarterbacks and forcing turnovers. Whether that will translate come week one remains to be seen, but given where the Buffs defense is coming from, any improvement will be more than noticeable. The U of A Wildcats. Arizona probably won't be last in the nation in turnover margin this season. The Wildcats could only muster 2 fumbles and 4 interceptions last season, while giving the ball away 23 total times. During the spring showcase this year, Arizona's defense had, check notes, 25 total takeaways. That's a real number, folks. Whether the improvement will come from the Wildcats simply progressing toward the mean or from a more aggressive defense remains to be seen. The Utah Utes. No quarterback in the Pac-12 is more comfortable than Cameron Rising in Utah's spring game. Rising didn't even break a sweat on his way to a 6-for-6 touchdown drive. It was all Rising needed to show after a 2,500-yard, 20-touchdown season last year that led the Utes to the Rose Bowl, while the rest of the conference swirls around them continually expectantly, while Kyle Whittingham is Utah's biggest strength and one of the main reasons they head into 2022 as the Pac-12 favorites. Rising and his consistent low turnover track record is another. So there's a look at the Pac-12. Now let's flip our attention to another topic, and it's in the NBA. I alluded to earlier that we were going to talk about some players that basically teams need to look at trading. You got to look at building teams differently. The landscape of the NBA has changed. Okay, it's not the same as it used to be. It's completely changed. It's about building teams. It's not about superstars. It's not about putting superstar rosters together. It's about building a team. Yes, you would like to have a superstar. You might even like to have 2 superstars, especially if you're the Dallas Mavericks. But you're not looking to make it a roster of superstars, okay? Because when you do that, then once those superstars leave, right, contracts, too old, whatever the case may be, your team's decimated, and then the rebuild process is just brutal, right? Look at what happened again when LeBron left Cleveland twice and Miami. Look at the damage he's done in LA when they let him be the one to make the decisions, and they feel like they need to consult with him in regards to all the decisions they make. It's not a good recipe. It doesn't work. Brooklyn needs to get off Ben Simmons. The Lakers need to let LeBron and Anthony Davis go. Both those teams need to get younger, faster, get players who are willing to take direction and coaching, play actual defense. Golden State has done exactly that, and that's why Golden State is who they are. The Phoenix Suns have done exactly that, and that's why the Phoenix Suns are who they are. Utah, if they weren't injured, would be a lot better than what they are. Denver, when they get Jamal Murray back, they're going to be a lot better than what they are. I think it's Jamal Murray they're missing. But bottom line is, you got young teams, Memphis, Minnesota, that are teams not built on superstars, not getting superstar rosters and putting them together, not relying on superstars, but teams that are playing team basketball, i.e., Boston Celtics. Another perfect example, Toronto Raptors, Miami Heat. It's not about these superstar rosters with a bunch of overpaid superstars that are absorbing all of your cap space and making it to where you can't afford other players and you have to get the best available from guys who realistically, shouldn't be starters or whatever the case may be. Because let's look at the LA Lakers again. Perfect example. Anytime you get a bunch of overpaid superstars, everybody else you get has to come on the cheap. And when you do that and you rely on these guys, and again, they either leave or they get injured, your team is decimated. And it's a rebuilding process and it's a pain. Cleveland, twice, Miami, Lakers are going to go through heck with what they've allowed LeBron to do. That disaster that he built as a roster over there, even though he doesn't want to take, the blame for what he did in LA. You got to look at the landscape, and the landscape of the NBA has changed. It's young. It's about team ball. It's about coachable players. It's about players who take direction. It's about players who want to play defense. It's about NBA teams who are playing team ball. Again, Memphis, Minnesota, Golden State, Phoenix, Miami, Toronto, Milwaukee, I'm Philadelphia to a point. I mean, we'll see what they do with James Harden. They'd be smart to move off James Harden, by the way. It would be a smart move to move off of James Harden. If he's looking for a max contract, he's no longer a max contract player. But the bottom line is the landscape of the NBA has changed. It's about building young teams with coachable players, no superstars. Don't overpay for anybody. Don't overpower players by giving them all the authority to make decisions in regards to rosters and coaching and things of that nature. Because if you do that, then you're going to be able to build long, winning, sustaining cultures in your team or organization, whatever you want to call it. Because, again, these superstar things, again, look at Brooklyn, disaster. Lakers, disaster. Doesn't work. Philadelphia, James Harden injured and not even close to being as good as he was 4 years ago. Disaster. Superstars don't work anymore. It's about building actual teams with coachable players who take direction and actually play defense. I'm telling you, Lakers, get rid of LeBron, get rid of Anthony Davis. Philadelphia, get rid of James Harden. Brooklyn, get rid of Ben Simmons. I can even make the argument, get rid of Kyrie Irving. It's about having one superstar, maybe two, having the money available to get other great role players and players that you can develop into being great players that you're not going to have to overpay for while you're developing them. Build that culture, build that team, build that environment. You will be a better team for it. That is what needs to happen for Philadelphia, LA, Brooklyn. It's not about these superstar rosters anymore. Golden State's a way better team without Kevin Durant than with. Fact, not fiction. All right, that's going to do it for today. That's going to do it for this week, actually. Happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody. I'll talk to you on Monday. We'll go over all the results, obviously, from the games that are about to take place in regards to the NBA playoffs. Plus, again, like I said, college football is going to be a huge, huge topic these next upcoming months. You guys enjoy your weekend. We'll talk on Monday.